Hi.
How are
We're
you?
back. We're back. It's been a while.
It's been so long. We're back, baby.
Yeah, we took our holiday break, or as you would say, our Christmas break.
Stephen, no. Stop bringing this back in.
Well,
How
it
was your
just looks bad
Christmas
if you
break?
deny it.
Did you get a lot of presents from Santa?
I can't remember what I got from Santa this year. But Christmas break,
How was your Christmas?
my holiday break was nice. It was really nice.
Mine was
What did you
too.
do?
I mean, I went to Limo, Florida. Hate. But,
Okay, chic.
you just take one for the team on Christmas.
Yeah,
You just
exactly.
do what the family's doing. You just resign yourself to a little bit of misery. Were you in New
Hmm.
York? I don't remember.
Not for Christmas. Went to Pennsylvania,
Ah,
but
yes.
uh then, and I think this tracks with our movie,
Mm-hmm.
then I went to Bali.
And he went to Bali from our Star Vehicle Trust Fund.
Yeah, from the research fund.
From the
Because
fund.
we decided, yeah, from our GoFundMe, we decided that since we're gonna do Ticket to Paradise,
Mm-hmm.
one of us should get a
One of
ticket
us
to
should go to
Paradise
Bali, business class.
and scout before watching the movie.
Yes, and thank God you did.
Yeah. I really did it in reverse order. I probably should have watched the movie before going just
Yeah,
to see
to
if
get a
there
little
were any.
taste of it.
Yeah, exactly. Sort of like a Nat Geo documentary, but and to see if there are any sites that I needed to scope out. But
Yeah.
I didn't. I watched it after. Actually, I watched it this morning.
Missed opportunity, but it's okay.
Yeah. But it was very they were only in like two areas of Bali, it looked like. Their hotel room and Gade's house.
Are you ready for the kicker?
What?
They filmed it
Is
in
it not filled
They
in?
filmed it in Australia.
Oh my, you said you had a surprise for me and I didn't. And as soon as I saw that grin on your face, I knew something was wrong. They filmed it in
They
Australia?
filmed it in Australia, so the research fund has been drained for no reason.
For no reason.
For no
And
reason.
that's what happens sometimes with these research projects. They don't always go the way you think.
Research is research. It's muddy. You don't know. You never know how
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
go.
It's like in eighth grade or something when you had to do a scientific experiment, and the teacher would always be like, "Oh, like don't worry, we don't take points off if your experiment doesn't work. It's just if you do the experiment, and you always lost points
I
if
would
your
fake it.
experiment."
I would fake the
Yeah, I would
numbers.
always lie
I'd be
to
like,
make
what do they need to trend towards? And I would trend them that way.
So we had to do like an eighth grade graduation science project where we had to do original research. And I just remember thinking at that age, being like, we're 13. There is nothing that we can think of
But
that's
it's
going to be
original.
original
Yeah, no way.
research. So I bought two candles, one that was scented, one that was unscented, and I burned both of them and I timed to see which one burned the longest.
Wow. Harvard better have been there scouting. Let me just tell you.
I just remember thinking, like, I have no other ideas for original research.
That's insane. Do you want to hear
And I
mine?
remember it was like me and my friend, and we were like playing video games while the candles were burning.
You're like,
And we definitely missed when they were extinguished. It
Just
was
gotta sit
like-
here all day.
I was like, let's just make it up.
That's what I did. I cut up a ShamWow, and do you remember ShamWow?
Of course,
rag.
they're actually really helpful.
It's just like a disgusting orange that I can't get behind. But yes, they're very helpful.
Oh, the color.
The
Yeah,
color.
yeah.
I cut up a ShamWow, and I tested their theory that they hold like 12 times their weight. And I did
They're
it
like ants.
yeah, it was something stupid, like a dumb number, and it was like a ShamWow lying to us all. And I had to repeat the experiment like hundreds of times, and I just did it like 20, and then I just trended
Yeah.
the numbers however I want, based on like 20.
Wow.
Cheater.
All right. Well, we should both have our eighth grade diplomas rescinded.
Revoked. I know. Sorry, guys.
That would be a good movie if you have to go back and redo eighth grade because you forged your science experiment.
Ooh. We have a lot of movie ideas that I think have legs. I just want to say.
Yeah, Emma Roberts.
Emma Roberts.
Check your inbox.
We will be in contact, babe.
Okay, so it's funny that you say that this was filmed in Australia, because that makes a lot of sense.
Because it
Well, I
doesn't
don't know
look
if it
like
makes a lot of
Bali.
sense. It doesn't look like Bali, but it makes sense why their hotel views look the way that they did. But it was just so interesting when I was there because it's all Australians. Like when I was at my sound bath, they went around the room and they asked us where we were all from, and everybody was from Australia or New Zealand, and we were the only people from the United States of America.
Whoa, far.
But then I was like realizing it's like part of the appeal of Bali is that it's so far away. But if you're close enough to it, it's just like a regular vacation destination.
Yeah, it's just
It's like
normal.
it's like when you try to like brag that you're going to Aruba, but it's only like 4 hours away. But if you're flying from Germany, then it's like, oh, I'm going to Aruba.
Aruba. Yeah,
You
that's
know?
what makes it. That's what makes it feel like a vacation. I can get behind that.
The distance.
Distance.
So
You want to have suffered to get there.
and you suffer, you do.
Uh-huh.
Suffer, you do.
How's the flight?
On
Terrible.
Actually, no. Actually, I had a really good flight.
Oh my
and on
God.
the flight back, I actually slept most of it. It was really nice.
Damn.
But to fly there, it's like 19 hours to Singapore, then a 3-hour flight from Singapore to Bali. So it's like 24 hours, basically, give or take.
I don't think I have it in me. I'm like, that's somewhere I'm never going.
When adults will be like, oh, I think I have like one more trip left in me to
That's it.
to your. It's like I don't think I have that trip left in me.
I
again.
don't
I think
have an Australia, Bali,
Yeah,
Singapore,
Australia, the same
Japan. I
thing.
don't have it. I don't have it in
yeah,
me.
yeah. It's like you need to do a little body scan, and it's like, do I have this in me?
Mm-mm. Nope.
Which why I think the ending makes sense.
They do stick around because they stick around.
Oh,
Oh.
oh, because they're like, I'm
Carlos.
not getting back on that flight.
I'm not getting back on the flight to see her in like 5 years when she has a baby. Like, we're
Which,
gonna
by the
stay.
way, like the movie was pretty comedic throughout the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But Beth Ann or whatever her name is on the flight,
Oh,
was that her name?
I don't even remember. Star making.
If they are smart, which I know they won't, and they did a spinoff where they followed her on her travels.
Put her in like
that
White
would-
Lotus. That's where I want to
Yeah, she would be good on the White Lotus.
see. Am I crazy? She's someone very famous, right? That woman.
She has like a famous face. She
I'm
has like
gonna look her up.
she has like a Debbie Reynolds light look to her.
I think
but-
she's pretty famous. Let me see.
But obviously she's no longer with us.
Wait,
So,
she isn't? Do you have that information?
Debbie Reynolds?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the lady from the plane. I was like, how
Oh,
do you
no,
know?
no.
Lady from
Um,
the plane looked famous, but I don't think she was. She wasn't.
Well, if that's her first role, honestly, I think she's going to have a really amazing career.
Yeah, she's magnetic.
Yeah. But I've been excited to watch this movie for a long time, ever since I first saw the
Same.
trailer. And honestly, I can say it didn't disappoint because this was a movie that really felt like it was tailor-made for me. And if I found out that it was a movie that no one else like even knew about and they just like sort of slipped into my email, like somebody funded this for me, I would believe them.
Somebody
It
like
has
found out about you and made it for
yeah,
you.
yeah. Like make a wish. Like this was my gift.
Your Make-A-Wish
So-
is like me calling like everything Christmas time.
Yeah, calling celebrities during Christmas time to make movies.
Oh my goodness.
So, and it was nice because as soon as the movie starts, it has the first thing we see is Universal Studios. And I'm like, okay, we're in good hands.
Good hands. You'll be
We're
fine.
in-
You can relax.
we're going to have cameras. We're going to have
Lenses.
We're going to have people working on the movie.
Mhm. There is going to be
Yeah.
a budget for wardrobe. And there
gonna be a-
was.
Incredible. Julia Roberts' wardrobe in the movie, incredible.
Those jumpsuits. I would love
She
one.
knows how to pack.
Yes.
She had
One piece.
she had the perfect outfit for every activity.
It was amazing. And those yoga pants, great.
The yoga pants, her
Beautiful.
like cut off jean shorts for dolphin swimming.
Ah, yes.
That was a really good look.
Yeah.
So many scarves. It was just like the perfect.
She did well. The sunglasses were next level.
Yeah.
Clooney had an easier job. It was like a t-shirt most of the time, those button-ups, but whatever.
Yeah. It's like they kind of reused his outfits from The Descendants. It was just
Exactly
like it was
right.
like it was a lot of Tommy Bahama and shorts.
Exactly right.
So that was nice to see.
It was wonderful. This movie starts how I like movies to start. How I like my star vehicles to start.
where they tell you what's happening.
Where they tell you what's happening from two perspectives.
And they don't match.
And they don't match. It's so exciting. You're like, oh my God, this is the same story.
But what's funny about how they begin, so they begin by each of Julia Roberts and George Clooney narrating to some poor, helpless person.
I'm like, can they leave? Being held against their will.
Especially Julia Roberts at the art auction, it really felt like she was talking to a stranger. Because
she does not know that woman at all.
She doesn't know the woman, and she was being so disruptive. Like, she was at a whisper silent art auction for someone to be just narrating about how they met and married their ex-husband.
Yes.
Felt a little rude.
I wouldn't be able to concentrate on my bids. That was so crazy.
So, I mean, going into the movie, we already knew that they were divorced. That's from the trailer. Mm-hmm. So it was a little bit confusing as to why they were telling these stories. Like, I was kind of wondering, like, okay, what did this person say to them to be like, hey,
what was the moment before? What was their moment before?
Exactly. It was like, it had to have been a non sequitur that, like, they just were like,
let me tell you about my marriage.
Yeah.
I remember George Clooney was giving advice to, like, a friend, which made sense. The friend was, like, about to get married. That one totally tracked.
Seemed made a little more sense. Julia Roberts truly felt like she was talking to a stranger.
She was talking to a stranger about her marriage.
The person that George was talking to and the person that Julia Roberts was talking to, we never see them again.
Never again.
So
I don't even think they speak, really. One or two lines.
No. For sure, the Julia Roberts friend doesn't say a word.
She doesn't say anything.
Doesn't say a word.
Julia has her captive at lunch, and she's just like, oh my God, can I leave now?
Oh, right, because then she does take her to lunch to continue to...
I feel like she says one line, and it's like, wow, I'm married for 25 years, and that gives Julia the kicker, nope, divorced after 5.
Yeah,
Boom.
and that comes back.
Set up.
And I did feel a breath of relief for Julia's scene partner when she goes, check please. The other girl's like, finally.
Thank God. Put me out of my
Finally,
misery.
I can leave this stranger.
You said something interesting.
It would have been funny if Julia Roberts got up after that, and then they cut to the girl, and the girl's like, "Does anyone have any idea who that was?"
I would love that. I would loved that.
Just like,
Who
I think
was
like
she?
this idea, like they couldn't, like that these characters can't stop talking about their divorce is humorous, and they could have leaned into it because like they really can't stop blabbing about their divorce.
They never stop. So many zingers.
To anyone who will listen.
So many zingers. And you said this when I texted you. You said this movie has no conflict, and it's like no conflict, but they are hurling incessant insults at each other.
Yeah, they love insult comedy, but they also love talking about conflict as if it's in the other room. They're always like, "Could you imagine if we were still married?"
Crazy, right?
We would be at each other's throats.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of talking about the time that they were married instead of like just like kind of being angry or upset with each other. It's like, remember that time? Crazy.
Yeah, and then we find out that the daughter is graduating.
Mm-hmm. Law school,
or as she says, college.
That was also confusing. I'm like, is it law school, or do you have a degree to practice law, or is this your undergrad?
It was weird because you see her like definitely like packing up law books to signal to us that she is graduating law school.
Yeah,
but then they're in what appears to be a college dorm, and when she gets to Bali, she goes out of her way to say, I just graduated college.
Yeah. I think this is like a blind spot for actors. They don't go to school.
I think so too.
They don't go to school.
100%.
So they don't know.
100%. Like it was one of those things where it made sense to everyone, but it made no sense to anyone else.
Like Roberts nodded to Clooney, who nodded to Caitlin Dever, and they were like, yes, college.
Yeah. College, that is where you go.
It made sense for the timeline that she's 25 and it was law school because they got married. They got married 25 years prior and divorced after 5. And you could have gone from undergrad to law school, right?
Most people do. And I do think it makes sense. Like she's going on this big trip after graduating before she goes to a big well-paying job. Like that made more sense than if she was coming out of undergrad.
Yeah, so it made sense to me. You're right though, very funny that it was college.
that it was college.
So funny.
And they were acting like they were just graduating from undergrad. Like when they were in the dorm, they have mugs full of Twizzlers. It was like,
kooky.
It was kooky. Like it was really bizarre.
Yeah. The decor
way they were
was
acting.
really college. It could have been an apartment that was just like overset decked, but like
and
it was funny.
And even the graduation ceremony felt very like undergrad the way that they were doing it.
Like this is the first time they've had to come together to celebrate her graduating.
Exactly.
No, it's very
like,
clearly the
like,
second.
She was like, "Oh, I really hope this goes well. Like, I have no idea how they're gonna do at a graduation." I was like,
you just did this 2 years ago, bitch.
Literally. But it did make me think of watching their graduation. I think that we deserve like a medal of honor for making it through our graduation from college, where they had us sitting in the sun.
God, it was the single most worst. It was like the worst day of my life.
We were sitting next to each other, and it was like we were playing MTV's Boiling Points. Like they were testing us to see how long we could sit.
Could you stand the heat?
Sitting in the sun, no shade, and
they were frying us on the lawn.
Frying. We're wearing black robes. It's like, I mean, it was craziness, and then like this was really triggering for me is that during the movie's graduation, the guy running it goes, "All right, let's start with the names," and I'm like, okay, that's how all graduations should work. Not us. We had to listen to someone's dad who was a
really
like football player.
Oh my God, Steven, do you remember who it was?
No, I have no idea.
It was a Yankee.
I remember it was an athlete.
He was a Yankee.
Oh, but he wasn't playing. He was
he had, like,
retired for.
And it was someone's
so
father.
bizarre.
It was somebody's daddy in our grade.
It was someone's daddy, and that daddy kept like shouting out his daughter.
It was so uncomfortable, the speech.
Yeah. It was very, very strange.
My sister got a tan line baked into her arm so dark.
From that day. And it was like, it's almost like I feel like I owe her reparations. Like that was a bad day. It was awful. So to see this in the air conditioning, I was a little bit jealous.
Redo, please. And then do you remember we had to move lawns and walk there? You're like, okay, this was the main graduation. Now time to go to your personal private graduation. And we had to walk to we had to walk to like the library lawn.
We were in the back building for ours.
They sent us to the back building. They said, we'll take you there.
The main campus got to stay on the nice pretty nice lawn. We had to go. Back.
They trudged us to the backyard and they said, sit down. I said, oh my God, I can't do this another hour.
Again in the sun. So we find out that these two are going to have to come together at the graduation, but the daughter assures them, and I couldn't tell if this was a lie or if this was a genuine like clerical error.
She sold it. She sold it. You won't be sitting together. Sold.
The auditorium is as big as Rhode Island. And I love George Clooney's response. That's the smallest state.
That's the smallest state.
That did make me laugh. I thought that was very funny.
He was so snarky in this. Like he had
what I loved about George Clooney in this movie, and you know, I really don't think I'm giving him too much credit here, but it's nice to see A-listers just like having fun. He was not taking himself seriously, and neither was Julia Roberts, and you could see that in the blooper reel.
I was going to say the bloopers, yes.
I feel like this was, and again, it was directed by the man who made one of my favorite movies of all time, Mamma Mia 2.
Perfect movie. It's a perfect movie.
This must have been a dream set.
Yeah, I think they had fun. The bloopers really sold it for me.
So much fun.
You're right. Clooney is just having the time of his life. He's psyched about a paycheck because he's like sort of retired, but he's like, you know what? I just want to go have fun with my pal Julia. They worked together.
And they produced this movie. This movie made a lot of money.
They did well. They did well for themselves.
They made a lot of money.
They did playtime for 30 days of a shoot. I made bank
in Australia, no less.
In Australia, probably took the family on vacation. I'm sure the kids, the twins.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Oh my goodness. You can tell that they're having so much fun. So the insults to me, they're so goofy because you just know they're buds. So it's fun.
Yeah, I love their dynamic at the graduation as they were insulting each other and standing up and trying to get the most attention.
Yeah. Woo! I'm the most proud of you, girl. I'm more proud, Lily. So
So
sit out,
that was
mom.
super cute. Um, and then we find out that Lily, is that her name?
Yeah, Lily and
Billy
Billy
Lord.
Lord. Billy Lord is like
Who
an Emma
I,
Roberts like 2.0 for me. I love her.
I wish we got more of Billy. She was
She
very
needed
funny
more.
in every scene that we got, but I wish we had a little bit more.
Yeah. She's hungover at the airport when they're on their way to Bali.
So funny.
Scene
Um,
stealing.
the scene stealing
Give her a
word
close up.
as we find out that even her parents don't know she's going to Bali.
Yeah.
Um, so they're off to Bali, and we think that's it.
That's it.
Movie's over.
Have a
So we
good trip,
think.
girls. I sort of thought this was going to be like very okay. So I actually don't really watch trailers very much. I try to like go into things blind. I thought this was going to be like snatched. I thought the girls were going to get taken, and
Oh,
mom and
and they have to
dad
go rescue
were going to
them?
have to go rescue.
Not quite.
Not quite.
Although similarly, she does get taken by love. And this was
Very
kind of
quickly.
interesting was the timeline of it. It appears that as if her first day there,
Yes.
she
They're swimming
falls
without.
in love.
I want to talk about how they're swimming without life vests. Really scary.
Okay.
So
That's
scary.
how we did snorkeling too, and it was the same situation. Like we got on the boat and they were like, "Oh, do you know how to swim?" And we're like, "Yeah."
Yes.
They're like, "Okay, great." So they put the life jackets away. And then for the
No.
snorkeling, like this happened when we went snorkeling, they like the boat would drop you off and then it would drive up. And then you would like snorkel
Up?
all the way and then catch up to the boat.
This is so dangerous. I don't like this.
So dangerous.
This freaked me out. They got
So
left.
dangerous if you can't swim. But
I
I
can
guess would be
swim,
the
and I
main
know
fear.
what fatigue feels like. Like it's scary.
yeah. No, it's true. I did like have this one sensation where I'm like, "Oh, like I actually need to make it to the boat
Yeah, you start to panic.
to get out of the water."
Yeah, on your swim to any boat, like I start panicking, even if it's like a second.
Yeah. So
So they're like doing their snorkel. It seems like you're right. First day vibes.
for sure the first day because like we don't even see where they're staying. We don't see anything.
Yeah.
So first day they're struggling and then luckily there's this very attractive seaweed farmer as we come to find out.
They don't let up with calling him like super hot in the movie. They're like
No,
super hot.
they're constantly telling us how attractive he is.
Yeah, super attractive like boy from Bali. It's like, okay, chill.
Yeah.
Are you horny too?
I'm trying to remember what he says to them, but I wrote down Billy Lord's reaction to it where she was like, "That's what I'm saying."
Oh yeah, I didn't know who said it back. He goes, "Who could forget?" They go, "Our boat forgot us," and he goes, "Who could forget you?"
Oh, and then that's when Billy Lord
And
says,
is it Billy
"That's
Lord who says, "That's what I'm
yeah,
saying"?
that's what I'm saying."
And I didn't notice this until the second time through. I skimmed this morning. Billy Lord is packing up those condoms in their dorm room scene.
Counting them out.
She's counting them out for the nights that she's there. And then at the end of the movie, she gifts them to Lily. I thought that was peak behavior for her. It was so funny.
It was funny, and I just wish we got, I just wish we got a little bit more of her humor because she was so funny.
She's hilarious.
And also, I wonder if Jamie Lee Curtis punched up the script because before they leave for Bali, at the airport, George Clooney is like, "Make good choices."
Make good choices. Yes, that's iconic movie lore at this point. Make good choices.
But when she gets on the boat, honestly, he should have dumped her right then and there because she laughs at him when she finds out that he's a seaweed farmer. I was like, that's really disrespectful.
Felt like they took pains to really paint it out that she falls for him fast. He seems really like whatever about it. Like could take it or leave it.
I think to your point, we really see more of her like emotional labor of falling in love
with him. Yeah.
Than we do him. And I could only think that they desperately wanted to avoid sort of what you were saying, a situation where it felt like she was being taken advantage of. Yeah. So I agree because we never get the aside where he's kind of talking to his parents and explaining why he loves her so much.
Yeah.
in the same way that we get so many scenes of her trying to explain why she like really loves him to Julia and George. I agree. I did find that strange. And then when we get to the end and it appears as if he's going to call it off, I was like, okay, that makes sense.
I was like, this makes sense. Yes, he doesn't love her the same way. Call it off, buddy.
Yeah, call it off.
That's the only conflict in the whole movie. That little fake out.
And here's how I sort of should have known that we were not actually filming in Bali, because
you should have done better. You should have
because known. That after the boat trip, they go out dancing that night. Kind of a hot scene if you think about it.
Hot.
And they're they're dancing and they're drinking and they're flirting. And I guess this is their one falling in love scene, because this is like kind of the only scene we get of them one-on-one, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we get a little bit towards the end, but that's when they're like reconciling.
Yeah. This is the first and only falling in love scene.
And they get really drunk, and she passes out. And this is how I should have known, because they were asleep with all the doors open and no mosquito nets. Because you know what was not pictured in this movie?
Mosquitoes.
The 1 million mosquito bites that you get every day.
Oh my God. So, other fave movie that takes place in Bali, Eat, Pray, Love.
Okay.
There's mosquito nets there. And she makes it a point.
Every bed that I slept in Bali had mosquito nets. And at first I thought they were decorative. And then I was like, oh no, I think these are actually practical as well.
You needed it, right? You used them?
Yeah. I mean, because invariably your doors or whatever would be open during the day. And then there could be mosquitoes that get in.
Mm-hmm.
And I did wish, and I know we're not at that scene, but when Julia is on the boat with George Clooney arriving in Bali, I wish she sort of like grabbed her chest or kind of put her head on her hand and was like,
not again.
I've been here before.
Yes, I want to see that. I really wanted to see that.
Yeah, like they could have thrown a little self-awareness.
Throw me a bone.
I mean, obviously, I feel like I'm sure there's more movies that take place in Bali.
No, just these two. Just two. And Julia Roberts in both of them. Just two.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
just two.
You're the only person I know who've been in 2 Bali movies. So
she was really itching to get back, that Julia Roberts.
So like the fact that they didn't try to like, or even if she was just like, ugh,
mosquitoes.
Like the last time I was there, it was something.
Yeah.
There was room for a little bit of like self-awareness, I think.
Last time I was here, I fell in love with someone else.
Yeah.
But husband. Okay, that's Liz Gilbert.
we literally get that one scene, and then all of a sudden we cut back to the States, Chicago, and I knew that because George Clooney said Chicago.
Chicago, yeah. As soon as I see a skyline, I go, New York. That's New York.
New York. I said it was New York, and then I wrote down, oh, thank God he said Chicago.
I'm world famous for doing that. Any sort of city skyline, that's New York.
I was like, why are you showing me skyline if it's...
They're banking on it being iconic, and for me, it's not.
It just doesn't jump out at me. So he calls Julia Roberts, and he's like, your fault. And she's like, no, it's whatever it is
your fault. Like, Lily emailed us. Go check. Could you imagine returning like fire like that on a phone call? Whatever it is, it's your fault. Have you ever said that in your life to somebody? Even when you're the most frustrated.
But I would pay Julia Roberts to talk to me like that.
Yeah, same. Step on my neck and say it.
Yeah. With your vein bulging.
I love her vein. Did you hear in the graduation scene? She goes, "She got my nose. You're welcome."
Yeah. That was
so
cute.
Weird.
So
yeah.
You know what I'm thinking about it? Maybe Jamie Lee Curtis did punch up the script, because this is sort of similar to Christmas with the Cranks, where they find out that, you know, their Blair, if you will, is has fallen in love rather quickly.
Staying home. Staying in the Peace Corps.
But instead, we have a Blair that's going to stay. And this Blair is getting married.
Yeah.
I guess within
it says like 37 days later in the
the
Chiron or something.
Oh, okay.
There's like a Chiron and it cuts and it's like 30 something days later, and I'm like, really?
Okay, that's weird then, because the way when they left for Bali, they made it seem like they were only going to be gone for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, for 2 weeks.
Before her. Okay.
So I think she overstayed, clearly.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's putting it mildly.
She overstayed for sure.
Honestly, that makes more sense. So I believe you. I might have just missed it. But if it did say 30 days later, I guess that makes more sense.
I'm not going to bother checking again. I mean, like, just
Honestly,
trust me.
the good news is that it works either way. It could have been day
Good
2 or
news.
day 30. It really doesn't
It's
change the
still
plot.
short.
It's still short and it still seems a little bit reckless. So
Super rack. So it's like 30 something, whatever days later, cut to Chicago. They find out Lily's getting married. And I am like, really,
yeah.
bitch? Really?
Really? And
She should have trauma from her parents' divorce.
Yeah, it was like, okay, are we doing this to get back at mom and dad? Or are we doing this, because we like to go on vacation? Are we doing this because we like being in Australia? Like, what's the reason?
It's true. That's why they take pains to make her fall in love first. It's true love. Like, they're trying to be like, this is like the real deal for her. And she belongs there. She feels like she belongs there.
Yeah.
And she wants the simple life over a life of being a lawyer.
And it also could have been a really cute idea if she was faking this romance just as a way to get her parents back together. Also love that idea.
Be funny. Down.
Wasn't that.
But, you guys, just so you know.
And that's what's sort of interesting about this movie, which is kind of a trope you get in a lot of other movies like this. Like, normally the kids are itching to get their parents back together.
Yeah.
But she is like honestly shocked at the end when they are like.
I think my note for this movie is Lily's too healthy. She is way too healthy. Like, I needed to see the trauma.
Needed to see the trauma, and then, or like I was saying to you before, like just like edit her out of the movie because
she doesn't need to be here.
She doesn't need to be here. Like, we could have found another reason to get two A-listers to Bali. I could have found another reason.
Same. I got ideas.
You know what I mean? So it was
Julia, check your inbox.
Right, because the only damage that her parents really do is nothing with trauma. It's the fact that they commit like a crime and they steal something from her.
Stealing. Yeah.
They steal.
When they arrive, Lily just goes something like, you sure you guys are cool with this? Because if you're not, you could just tell me. And I was like, what? Who would say just tell me? That's not how families communicate.
Right. Yeah.
Can you imagine?
100%. 100%. And it was like, the parents are so caught off guard, like that they're like, what? No. And there was no like anger from them where they're like, don't speak to me like that, you ungrateful college grad.
They were both separately, it seemed, very good parents. Like, Lily
there was no complaints.
Loved. She felt good about her upbringing. She communicated her feelings well, clearly, and was vulnerable with them. And it was, it's shocking to me.
I agree. And this is also why I love, and there is an Emily in Paris crossover in the movie. And one of the reasons I love that show too is that like you don't even hear about Emily's parents, and she has no trauma at all. And it's like, sometimes it's nice to just live in a world like that.
That level of just checking out, suspending my disbelief. Okay, this is a really healthy 25-year-old who is just like doing what's in her heart. Okay.
And it's very that eat, pray, love of like, that's what Bali is.
Yes, it's magic.
Live, laugh, love.
Unless you're from Australia, in which case Bali is.
I can't say it.
Just kidding. We were just saying that the distance makes it special from America. Yeah. And that's what it is. It's like the distance is making it magical. When you're from Australia, Bali is not that magical. It's close.
Yeah, it's close.
It's close. It's like Florida.
It's like Florida.
Oh my goodness.
So they're like, okay, we have to go. We're going to go to Bali. Or I guess it seems like they're surprised that they're both going to Bali, and they're doubly surprised that they're both on the same flight.
Yeah.
Because we find out that George's plane has a layover in Los Angeles where he doesn't get off the plane. They just let more people on.
They just let more on, and he's already there. Yeah, wait, that was super odd.
Which was really funny. Yeah. And Julia gets on. But before Julia gets on, we've teased her before.
Our favorite scene stealer.
But Beth Ann gets on.
Beth Ann or Mary Beth, I don't remember. Looked her up. She's not somebody super famous. I thought she was like a name. She's not.
I wrote down, this is the scene that they would show at the Oscars when all three of them should have been nominated. all three, and they could have played the same scene.
You mean
for
you're
all
not
of them.
Italian?
So funny.
Clooney pretends to be Italian, so she'll stop talking to him. Oh my God.
He pretends to be Italian. He drops it when Julia gets on. Beth Ann slides in the middle. And then we find out that Julia is dating the pilot.
Yes.
And he surprises her as being the pilot on the flight.
Surprise, I'm driving. Hey.
And we find out that Julia Roberts notoriously hates surprises. And that becomes a running gag.
It does. And they're totally teasing that, like, he knows her best of all, her ex-husband, George Clooney.
I mean,
he
from
knows
the
she
minute
hates surprises.
And they set it up from beat one that you know that this is not going to work out with this guy because he literally, George is like, you don't like surprises.
Yeah. Minute 14 is like, you don't like surprises, and this weirdo is surprising you. He's also so goofy. He's very Tad in Falling for Christmas. Like, he just is in another movie of goof.
He's very goofy. Which I appreciate because he tries to play so serious on Emily in Paris. It was nice to see him let loose a little bit, but he was letting loose too much to the point where I'm like, okay, this isn't real.
Rein it in, Paul. It really wasn't real.
He did make me laugh when he was trying to explain that planes should be able to fly themselves as it continues to almost crash.
I love that. And then the intense turbulence. And then, like, they're like, don't worry, everyone forgot about it. And Mary Beth is like, you fucking asshole. When they land in Bali.
Yeah. So funny.
Peak comedy. So they're in Bali. They take a boat to get to the island where their daughter's getting married. And the whole time they're cooking up their plan.
Yeah, they get off the plane and they're like really annoyed to find out that their daughter is going to make them take a boat to where she is. Mm-hmm. And I get it. We had to do those boat rides between the islands. It's rough waters. They made it seem like a pleasure cruise. It's like very bumpy.
Oh no, I hate that. That's scary to me.
Yeah, like it's a bad news. Like when you go to get on the boat and they give everyone mandatory Dramamine to take before the boat takes off. And like, I don't even get seasick, but just knowing that I'm supposed to take this, I was like, oh, I'm going to get seasick.
Yeah, that would put the anxiety in me.
Seasick. Yeah.
Oof, I don't like that.
But once it started moving, I felt fine. Like I don't really get seasick, but I felt bad for people that were like on the boat who clearly were like struggling.
Yeah. Well, this was a pleasure cruise. It was very light, very easy. They're cooking up their plot.
Yeah.
They want to stop the wedding, and they're going to Trojan horse their way in.
They're going to Trojan horse their way in. And already I'm loving the pace of the movie. Like, we're moving so fast. The fact that we're already, like, at everyone's on
don't
Bali.
Get your hopes up because it slows the fuck down.
I know it slows down. But I was so impressed with how quickly we were moving.
Yeah, we were in Bali in 15 minutes, which was exciting.
It's so exciting.
Thank God.
Yeah, everyone's in Bali.
Yeah, everyone. The whole family. Yeah. The whole family's in Bali in 15, and I'm like, good movie. Great movie.
Yeah. And to your point, to be honest, at this point, after all the scenes really do start to blend together, so it's hard.
I was having a hard time keeping them separate.
It's hard to piece out what happens after every scene. But I think what happens is they go to. Do they go to the reception first with the whole family? Is that the first scene?
Think so. Now we're in like the fun and games of it all. They go to reception and they ask for the two rooms farthest apart from each other or something. And they get housed right next door.
221 and 222.
The second best
Almost
room.
as good.
Almost as good. Funny.
It was funny.
The locals get some good moments.
Yeah. It was really cute to see that they're staying next to each other, and then they go to sort of like a meet and greet with the whole family, and everyone's so nice. Like there's no conflict between the family. Like there's no animosity. Everyone, and what's weird is that they play this scene where like Julia and George, even though they go into this scene with the idea of like, we're going to break this up, once they get there, then they sort of like want to outdo each other in terms of who's nicer to everyone.
Yeah, which is fam.
Yeah. Like they sort of drop it immediately.
Yeah. The family was so nice and everyone was so great. I kept waiting for the shoe to drop. I'm like, where is the screaming dad? Like, give me some conflict, some drama. There was nothing.
Like, his parents are so on board with it.
They were a breeze.
There's no drama there.
Yeah, they do some translation humor, which I'm like, I don't know if that still holds up.
Yeah. We get a oh, you look like a horse comment. Which I guess was funny.
When like the daughter is translating for the mom, and the mom goes on for like 2 minutes of a speech, and then the daughter goes, she says welcome. It's just like so funny.
Yeah, that's like a classic bit for translation humor.
Very classic. They do that. I'm trying to think. Very quickly, they learn that their daughter is about to exchange rings, like that night or the next day in some ceremony.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
I think they find out like the first step is that they're going to exchange rings. And then we learn that there has to be like this trifecta of like right place, right time, right person.
Mm-hmm.
And like the first step is exchanging the rings ahead of time. Because that like, I don't know.
It's like a pre-ceremony. And then so like...
Yeah, it's a
Julia
pre-show.
and George.
So,
I don't even know their names. Like Georgia and something else. I don't remember.
It's Julia Roberts and George Clooney.
It's Julia Roberts and Mr. Cotton. That's what he says you can call me. Call me Mr. Cotton.
But what's weird is like, okay, you're right that they find out about the rings and that's their first sabotage moment. But the first time I really tuned out of the movie was that night. They're at a bar and George Clooney, I couldn't tell you what he was talking about, but he's like spilling his guts to Billy Lord.
To the friend.
Chanel, I literally wrote down, I am so tuned out right now. I can't understand what he's whisper acting.
It seemed like a rehash of the opening, just more earnest.
Right?
Like the opening was like, yes, got married, shouldn't like it. We were divorced in 5 years. This was a rehash of that, but they just gave him a moment to be like a little bit more sentimental about it. And Billy Lord, poor girl. She's just captive. She's just there listening. She doesn't get much to say.
Yeah, that's what was weird. She doesn't really say anything. Because like what you think the scene is going to be is he's rehashing the same story. And then she says something that's going to allow him to think about his marriage differently.
Yeah, something
but
different.
It's almost just the scene is that he's just a little bit drunk and now he's just being kind of sad.
I know.
Which I think was the scene.
And poor Billy Lord, like she has to just come up with like 18 different listening faces. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Poor girl.
Because like his emotional journey along with Julia Roberts is that like, oh, it wasn't that bad. That was basically their journey. So I guess his step one is him being like, oh, okay, like it's fine.
It's okay.
But what's hard about the journey is that like I think that they're having way too much fun because every time they like interact, they're always giggling and like kind of petting each other, and it's almost like they're resisting the script. Like when we get to the beer pong scene,
oh my god, yeah,
they might as well they're married at that point.
The sexual tension, they built that in. I'm not crazy, right? They put that in.
Yeah, and then I guess it's the next day, right? And I think that that's when they hatch the plan to steal the rings, I think, right?
Yeah, so like very quickly, either the next day or like, the next day they're going to do the ring stealing, and Julia's like, I got it. I know the exact little girl I'm going to target.
Yeah, they manipulate a 7-year-old.
They manipulate a tiny little girl. This movie though had actual magic in it. How'd she cut the banana? I was so shocked.
Didn't know. I didn't know that she was going to David Blaine it to get the rings.
Literally, Harry Houdini's a banana.
Yeah.
Slices it up in the peel, don't know how, and uses it to wow a 7-year-old away from her purse for 10 seconds, and then steals the rings. So mean.
Steals the rings.
The trauma just involved in like being told that you're 7 and you lost the rings. That's bad.
Yeah, I mean, arguably, I think you're right. That 7-year-old probably has the most trauma.
She's the most fucked up in this whole movie.
And she's going to go around telling people for the rest of her life that Americans cut bananas inside the peel. And they're going to be like, what are you talking about?
Exactly. She's got 2 really big things to reckon with for the rest of her life.
Yeah. But what's good about her stealing the scenes from stealing the rings and the scene, I guess, from a juvenile is that now her and George are instantly in good moods so that they can go on their boat trip.
Yes.
And Julia is like honestly feeling fun, flirty, fabulous. She's wearing her jean cutoffs.
She's like, "Come on, babe, get in."
Yeah, she's like,
What, are you
"Let's
scared?
go for a ride." And then they drive out into the middle of the ocean. And they sprinkle some dolphin food in the water, and they summon the dolphins.
This was so scary. So scary for me.
Terrifying.
Would you get in that water?
Well, you know what's interesting is, so we were there in the off season, so there was literally no one there. We didn't see any dolphins, but we were snorkeling at one point, and we had a guide with us, and he was like, "Oh, dive down." We just had snorkel mask, so we were free diving, if you will.
Ooh.
And we went down like 10 feet, and there was like a giant sea turtle, and he got up and started swimming to the top and like swam right next to us. That was really cool.
Sea turtles are fine. I'm not as scared of those.
That's what I was gonna say, is I love the sea turtle because I'm like, we're on the same page about like our pace of life.
Yeah,
the
slow.
dolphins
Mm-hmm.
the dolphins
That looked like a frenzy. It was like a feeding frenzy, and they're all jumping in. They're like, "Come on, Mom, let's get in." And Julia was like, "What, are you scared?"
Yeah.
And like,
dolphins are weird because at anytime someone brings it up, like anybody without any expertise is like, they're geniuses, right? Dolphins are super smart. And I'm
my God.
Okay, Snapple
Doesn't mean we
lid.
should
It's
get
like,
in the water with them. I feel like
Yeah.
they're actually violent, is what I've heard.
Okay, that's like when we went to the monkey forest and
Wow, you really did all the things on my dime. I'm really upset.
and the monkey tried to jump up and take my bag. At that point, I was like, I'm out.
That's when you're not on the same page anymore.
We're too close, like in species, to be in a position where you're the spectacle and I'm watching you. Like
Yes.
we're too even. It doesn't work.
That's actually kind of it. That's the exact fear.
Yeah. If the sign says you're not allowed to look them in the eyes, I was like, this is a bad.
Stop. It said that.
Yeah, that was one of the rules. Don't look the monkeys in the eye.
I went to a haunted museum in Las Vegas, and they said, "Don't look this doll in the eye."
Same idea.
Same
idea,
thing.
right?
You might get in trouble.
But these dolphins were friendly,
Ish.
so we think, and one even jumps over rainbow style over Julia Roberts, and they're like George, get in the water, George.
Come on,
and
Dad.
This is where, and George is like, no, and then I think this was his problem. He does a big cannonball to jump in, and that's very disruptive underwater.
Yeah.
Which causes a dolphin to charge.
He should have done like a walk in or like a dive.
Yeah, just like slip in like everyone else. So
be normal.
Yeah, gingerly get in the water. So he jumps in, he startles the dolphins, they charge.
He gets bit.
He gets bit by the dolphin, which is funny.
It's super funny. We don't get to see it, but I guess that would be gruesome.
They never show us the bite because what's weird is that they make it seem like, okay, they show the dolphin charging, which I guess is CGI, but it looks like they imply as if he's bit his groin area.
Yeah, like haha, crotch.
Like, or what I thought was like, oh, he just rammed it, right? Like he rammed into his region there. But then when they get out of the water, they're implying that he severely bit his ankle to the point where
severe bite, but no hospital.
To the point where there's blood, or well, they don't show any blood, but they're like, you need to keep pressure on the wound. So I was a little bit thrown off as to what that dolphin had gotten up to under the water.
Same. And like this movie isn't shy about taking someone to the hospital, as we see later. So I'm just like, this seems like it warrants a hospital visit or maybe stitches. I don't know. And then they just kind of like let it go.
But what's funny about the scene and what I appreciated about it is that they definitely broke in this scene because you can see it at the very end before they cut.
George is like, pressure, and then they have to cut to black.
And Julia slams her hand down, and you can see the daughter start laughing.
Dead.
It's so funny.
I love that. I'm gonna go back and find
cut.
that.
Yeah. And then they cut. Or it could have been natural. I don't know. Like we said, she's blissfully unaware of the realities of the world. So I guess she could have found that humorous.
Yeah. I was like, okay, this seems serious, but it is forgotten very quickly.
Very quickly, because all of a sudden he's healed and this did make me laugh.
This is harvesting.
in the scuba suits.
Yeah, harvesting seaweed.
Harvesting seaweed. So cute.
Cute.
And so funny.
Adorable.
But they're playing, the way they play this scene, and I guess that's the point, right? That they're sort of falling in love again, but they play the scene like this is their first date in the way that they're acting. So it's super cute.
It's flirty. It's fun. They're touchy for the first time ever. Touchy.
And I think what's great about these scenes is that they let us know that whatever happened between these two, it wasn't that serious. You know what I mean? Like nothing bad really happened.
In a weird way, it did remind me of The Parent Trap, a Getting the Parents Back Together movie, because they're like so quickly they're like starting to realize like, oh, that was stupid.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have anything to be upset about.
It's not like anything like really terrible happened. Like,
yeah. They just fell out of love.
Otherwise it would be weird if they, were so touchy-feely with each other. Yeah, like something bad. And this is honestly like, this is the greatest day. That's what I would say, because they're having this fun at the scuba thing, and then not scuba, they're just wearing scuba gear while standing in waist deep water. Mm-hmm. But then that night they go, this is the best scene in the movie.
This is the best scene in the whole movie. They know it because they drag it out. It's long.
Okay, what's really funny about this is that before I went to Bali, I watched a million, I'm a total YouTube head, and I watched like a million like videos of like 10 things to do in Bali and 10 things not to do. And one of the things that they said not to do was most bars sold that like moonshine vodka item. And they were like, never get it. They're like, you will get so drunk so fast and you will be sick for days.
We saw.
And they were like, don't order mixed drinks when you're there, because even if it says that it's like, whatever, a margarita, they'll just pour that thing in.
Oh, that.
I mean, I got a bunch of mixed drinks, but I don't think they ever put.
Ooh, I was gonna say I only get mixed drinks, so sorry.
But anyway,
sorry.
I was saying, but the point is that it's definitely like a thing. So it was kind of funny that they were.
You were very in the know, so I'm glad we sent you. I'm glad you went.
So yeah. I'm happy to report that they got this right.
Accurate. It was correct.
Yeah.
I wanted to know why they're playing beer pong in Bali. I'm like, that feels very American, but I guess like maybe it's like an American bar. That's fun. It's a fun choice.
Yeah, there's a lot of like here's our Indonesian menu and here's our Western influence menu. It's like every menu had two sides.
Have you heard of Fireball?
Yeah. Like there was that. What's really funny is that a lot of the restaurants try to accommodate for a Western. And that's how they like identify it on the menu. Well, and especially with drinks, like they claim to be able to make every cocktail, but then you order it and it tastes like nothing like a margarita. It's like I don't know what is in this drink, but so I could see an establishment setting up beer pong in hopes to lure some patrons.
It was fun for us. It was nostalgic for them, so then fun for us because they got to like relive their glory days. Billy Lord gets another one-liner for the ages. Can we like age this up for these old folks? Yeah. Like let's play some age appropriate music. So they play like throwbacky stuff. And then my question for you is, can you win beer pong on a bounce? They were bouncing the ball in.
Well, you know what's interesting is that I did this. As I was watching the scene, I was like, that's why it's really important if you want to play beer pong with people, is to be like, okay, what are your rules?
Like, it's personal.
How do you? It's really personal. So like they definitely were playing that you had to bounce it first before it goes into a cup, and like that's fine, but that's.
This is more movie people who didn't go to college, just being like, this is how you play.
Yeah, exactly. But and I did laugh when they were like, "Oh, we're not playing with beer. We're gonna play with essentially like a handle of this moonshine, or it's gonna."
That doesn't end well.
This was honestly out of most of the movies that we've watched, this was some of the best drunk acting I've seen. Don't you think? I think George in particular did a very good job.
It was pompous,
and they might have been.
Like, I like a more slurred drunk acting where they look really messed up in, like, the eyes. This was pompous drunk acting. It was like I loved it. Turned it up. Yeah, I was right with it. But it's like, that was cool.
What I loved is that everybody was having fun. Everyone was having fun.
Well, except Lily. She's like, Mom, stop. Dad, stop.
That's where I was like, can we get a version with her edited out? Like,
Lily, now's not the time. They're getting along. Like, shut up.
Now's not the time. Everyone's having fun. Like, we're all here for you. Like, zip it.
Let her dance.
Yeah. And even like, imagine you had done this stunt and then your parents are so nice enough to come and then they're like, let's play beer pong couple to couple. Like, you just go with it, girl. You
Count your
don't
blessings,
mouth off
babe.
at the table. So that was fun to see.
Yeah, and
And
then
then they black out
and wake
and
up.
then they wake up in the same bed.
Same bed. I was like, I almost couldn't believe it. I was like, no. But I was like, this makes sense. They were building out crazy sexual tension. But we quickly find out nothing happened.
Even though he's pantsless,
yeah,
he lost his pants because he skinny dipped.
And she says no amount of money in the world would make her do something with him.
Correct.
Like,
yeah, what are you crazy?
I was like, okay, girl, keep telling yourself
what's funny is that she still, like, in her blacked out state, had enough wherewithal to put her eye mask on, which was I'm just love that
wherewithal. That's when that's when oh my god, Paul, Julia's like boyfriend, comes knocking. Another surprise at the door.
He shows up as a surprise,
and Julia chucks George Clooney her yoga pants. Says, here, put these on. And I thought that was great.
He puts them on. They're kind of loose-fitting yoga pants.
They were stretchy. Like, those are not yoga pants. Those are like harem pants.
Yeah, like I was expecting there to be like the physical sight gag of like him wearing skin-tight yoga pants.
Me too.
That were like, especially since she goes, "Don't worry, they stretch." It wasn't the pants that we were sold.
I think they missed a lot of physical comedy in this. I think that they understood, and they produced it, so that makes sense. That I think George and Julia don't do pratfalls. Like, they're not physical comedians. That's why we get the dolphin charging, but like not much else, you know? And then like the yoga pants, like you said, missed opportunity. Give them the tightest pants you can find.
Yeah. Because when the Emily in Paris guy opens, open the door for the Emily in Paris guy, he looks at his pants, which are like flowy pants, and he goes, "Oh, you've taken up yoga." And I was like, that is not the inference from those pants.
No, I'd be like, you hit up the gift shop downstairs. I can tell.
Right. So they think they've got him, and they convince him that they have swapped rooms.
Yeah. That stressed me out. I hate that. When I like on vacation, I get really attached to my space.
Yeah.
Like if they wanted to upgrade me, I would almost be like, no.
No, as soon as I've opened the door and like opened my suitcase, I'm like, I live here now.
Yeah, this is where I live.
Yeah, like stay out. So the idea of having to like quick change trading spaces, like swap all my luggage with the neighboring room would be almost too much to handle.
I would have a meltdown.
Yeah, 100% meltdown. So
they do it to try to like fool Paul. Like, we didn't just wake up in the same bed. Paul doesn't have a care in the world. He doesn't care.
Paul doesn't have a care in the world. And then we get another great line from Billy Lord, because Paul, Billy Lord, and the other girl are standing in the lobby with her fiance. And then George and Julia Roberts walk in and they're like, "Hey guys, did you see Paul was here?" And Billy Lord's like, "He's standing right next to me."
She's got the sarcasm down.
Yeah. So
I'm trying to think. Oh my God. So this is when the point in the movie, More Fun and Games, where they try to convince the couple that's about to get married to go to a cursed temple. Is that scene?
Right. And we see that the guy is like, "Oh, we really shouldn't go there. Like, we should go to this island or whatever." And we don't fully understand yet why he doesn't want to go to the temple.
Him and her, the couple that are about to get married, he's like, "Hey, if we go there, we'll never have luck as a couple." And she goes, "Well, let's just not go."
Yeah.
So she turns around with her fiance, and then Billy Lord, George Clooney, Julia Roberts, and guy from Emily in Paris go to the cursed temple.
Go to the cursed temple, where unfortunately he's bit by a snake.
Unfortunately, it was not Bali belly; it was a snake bite that got him.
had Bali belly.
I know. I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah. It was definitely on my bucket list.
You were trying to get it. I heard.
Trying to get it. This scene did make me a little sick to my stomach when she put her mouth on it and sucked out the poison. Ugh, I wouldn't have done that.
If anything, Paul is the one doing pratfalls in this. Like, he's doing goof.
He was goof, and he did a good job. Like, he did make me laugh a little bit as he was falling down with the snake bite.
Hilarious.
He's like, "Oh, look, a snake."
Poison. Wait, and then she sucks the poison out, and like it causes numbness. So isn't her mouth like a little bit numb?
She's like, "Wait."
And then we cut to the hospital and her mouth is no longer numb. I wanted to see them keep that up. Like that would have been cool.
It would have. You're right. I really thought that's where we were going.
Me too.
Like part of the problem was that she wasn't going to be able to speak to like stop the wedding.
Yeah.
Like because her mouth was numb. Like she wouldn't be able to object or something. But no, she's healed instantly, and we find out that the other guy will just need bed rest from the venomous snake bite.
Oh, also we glazed over because this is how boring it is. But he tries to propose to her.
Oh right, yeah. He tries to.
We didn't care.
Didn't care. Well, I think what's interesting about him proposing there is that there's. I guess saying there's no stakes isn't the right phrase, but there is no stakes because you just know that they're not going to be together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like as soon as he bends down, you're like,
okay.
This isn't going to work.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that she doesn't indulge him.
It's in her performance immediately. Thank God. She's like, how do I say no?
How do I say no?
Yeah.
So luckily, you're right. He does get bit by a snake, so we're able to end that scene. And then they go to when they're at the hospital. I guess is the first kind of scene where the parents of G'day find out that maybe these parents don't have the best interest because they're like, wait, why would they ever go to that temple?
Yeah, why'd they try that plan?
Didn't you tell them about the curse? And he was like, no, they knew.
Yeah, G'day's like, they knew. And the parents are still like, well, we forgive you.
That's what I'm saying. The parents don't care. They're like, whatever.
No conflict. This is the
Whatever.
final destination in the fun and games section. The rings weren't present, so they couldn't do their ceremony. So like they decided to go to some really beautiful, is it like forest? Like rainforest? For the views.
I think they talk about that other island that it's like a popular island that people go to for day trips.
Got it. And they get to that gorgeous, gorgeous vista. They look down.
Yeah.
And G'day says,
they're like, wow, look at that way that boat is drifting.
G'day goes, didn't you tie it down? He goes, didn't you tie my boat down?
Yeah.
It sounds like a you problem, G'day.
Yeah, I was like, wouldn't you want to oversee that? Like, wouldn't you want to watch him do
Project manage. This man doesn't
George is
know
like,
how to tie a boat.
I tied it to a log. And then it's drifting away.
Bye. This is our last little like monkey wrench in the plan.
Yeah,
so they're can't leave the island.
On an island. And there's no
food.
And there's like a bunch of islands like that you're allowed to do day trips to, but no one's allowed to live on them. Mm-hmm. So
tracks.
Yeah, that tracks. Thank you for my reporting. I'm look at me, I'm a little Diane Sawyer.
I hope you wrote it down because we're gonna want to publish this soon.
Yeah, put my ABC News cap on, but
you're like, and I'm happy to report you cannot sleep on this island.
Cannot sleep on the island. Yeah,
so they are in trouble.
Over and out. Back to you, Al. So they're there and they're like they're trying to get camp together, and it seems like everyone's gonna have fun. Like we're gonna bond overnight. We're gonna build a fire. We're gonna catch food. We're gonna survive. We're gonna play Survivor for one night, and no one's gonna get voted out. But then we find out that the tribes are gonna split because the daughter finds out that Julia Roberts has the rings in her bag.
Yeah, like they are splitting. They do some like very classic gender roles. They send the men out to hunt pig, which
hunter gatherers.
So scary. Yes, and then they keep the women home to mend the home.
Yeah, they sweep.
Yeah, she's very clearly gathering, and as Lily's gathering, she like goes in her mom's purse.
Yeah, she is gathering.
She's literally gathering. Women gather. This is what we learned in school. Do you remember this? Women did the gathering.
Okay, but before she gathers in the bag, I laugh, but now I'm thinking I guess it wasn't a joke because they built the fire, and the girl goes, "Oh, I have matches." And she like goes to open the bag, and I laugh. But now I'm thinking, I guess she was serious. Like I guess,
she really had them.
Why else would she go in the bag?
I don't know what I thought. I was like, "There's no way in hell they're starting a fire out here. They're too like city."
It seemed weird to like build the fire and then wonder if we have a way to light it.
Matches.
But you're right. She's doing gathering, and she finds the rings that have gone missing.
Mm-hmm. And then she has a real stern look. She's like, "Mom."
She's like, "Mom,
I know what you did. That's what this means."
Yeah. And then there's a big confrontation where all four of them are together. And then we find out, or she finds out, that even G'day knew about it and he didn't tell her. And She storms off, he chases her, and now we have mixed pairs. We have men and women together.
Now we've jumbled up the order. This is the point in the movie where I
Tribe
wrote,
swap.
I can't tell if I'm rooting for the young couple or not. Like, up to this point, the movie hasn't told me if I should be liking them or not. Like, should I be on board with this marriage or not? I don't know.
Okay, well, it's funny that you say that in light of what you said earlier, that we never really get a signal if he actually likes her.
Yeah,
Because,
I'm like, I'm kind of on edge still.
well, what's interesting about this scene is that it is weird that he never told her that her parents did this.
Yeah,
So
that's how I felt too. He should
I
have said something.
understand why she's angry, and I also was like, it actually doesn't make sense why you kept that secret from her.
Yeah. Or I was justifying it the opposite way. Like, I wanted a scene where he goes, look, I didn't want to hurt your feelings. And it was very clear your parents were not on board. So I didn't want to hurt you. Then they could have bonded and I could have shipped that couple. I would have been like,
No,
wow.
I agree.
Do you know what I'm saying? I just didn't know.
That. Yeah, I didn't know what to think.
I didn't know what to
know what to think
I need
immediately.
movies to tell me what to think.
Yeah, there was no Chiron that said,
These
relax.
people are good. But then we get
honestly,
Julia.
they're boring. I'd rather spend time with Julia
No,
and
they are
George.
so boring. They're just the couple you're not supposed to really worry about, I guess. You're supposed to be like, yeah, they're in love. Okay, gross.
Yeah, I think that that's like you have to like kind of kiss that into the universe, which is that these two are just meant to be together and you're really not supposed to worry about them at all.
Yeah.
And by the movie ignoring them, we do worry about them.
That's very good insight.
It's weird.
I know.
So Julia and George, though, they're together and they are...
This is the best part.
I don't even know what they say, but all that I know is that they kiss.
They're perched on like a rock and they're talking about themselves or their lives. Like you said, I kind of paper shredded it, but they gave me what I've been waiting for. They do the lean and a kiss.
And a kiss.
And I took that ride. I thought, this is it. They're gonna get back together.
Me too.
Did you get fooled? I did.
Well, it was like a really like hearty kiss, like a long one.
It was like intense.
And then we get like a pullback where they're both like, whoa,
no. They're like, that will never happen again. No.
And then they're like, should we shake on it? And then they handshake, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah, it's weird. I took the ride. I was so excited. I couldn't wait. And then it also would have betrayed the whole movie if they like fell in love again.
Yeah. And then as soon as they handshake, the daughter, interrupts them, and we're like, not you again. And she,
Steven, you like, really hate the daughter.
Well, it's hard to...
Folks at home, you should have seen the eye roll just now.
Because what the daughter then says to them is she's like, listen, I'm over the ring thing. We're getting married. Get with it or get out.
Yeah, or take a flight back home.
Yeah, get to Steppen if you'd like to leave. So...
They make it back to Gaday's parents.
Because who rescues them?
Oh my God, Beth Ann.
Yeah, Beth Ann rescues them because she's there for a day.
She's like, hi, or should I say ciao?
Ciao.
Bitch. Scene stealing. That's the one that I think they should play at the Oscars.
Yeah.
Her.
Very smart.
Yeah.
Smart. Okay, so they get back and it's wedding time. And immediately, because the daughter's like, listen, it's now. So we've been here for too long. I need to get married. So they're going through like the wedding ceremony, and it's cute enough.
Yeah, it was very pretty. There's some slow-mo. They took pains with those visuals. I mean, I think it's universal. It's the universal of it all.
Yeah.
They had budget for the wedding.
Oh, I hope they do a Ticket to Paradise ride at Universal Studios.
Same. That'd be cool. I would love that.
Yeah, Ticket to Paradise, like kind of boat tour where you go through the different
And when you're on the
movie.
line, like waiting, like in queue, there's like sliced banana props.
Oh, so fun. Like you get to squeeze it and you make it like...
Yeah, it would be really cool.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm down. So again, Julia Roberts has like the perfect dress for the wedding. For a wedding she didn't even intend on going.
Oh yeah, George Clooney's like, you weren't supposed to go to a wedding. She's like, that tux doesn't look rented.
Yeah.
Keep going, guys. Keep zinging each other. I'm down.
Yeah, get it. So they sit down at the wedding, and again, they're not showing their whole cards. We don't know how everyone feels about it, except for everyone else. So, because their whole family is happy, and George and Julia are just sitting there
Sort of blank faced.
Sort of blank faced.
They're like poker faced.
Good, yeah, very good poker face.
Also, I have to point out, when we said this movie slows down, we really meant it, because like
we skipped over
what
like 90% of the movie.
Because from this point on, I couldn't believe we still had a half-hour runtime left. Like, when George and Julia are having the kiss on the rock, there's 30 minutes left in this movie, and I'm like,
even after the wedding is over, there's 20 minutes left. So
the movie really settles. Like, they take a slow breath after this, and it's shocking. So they take a long time.
These scenes are long, even though it seems like we're talking about the wedding being quick. It's because
long.
They go through the wedding, and then we get to like kind of the last step, and he's like, "I'm not doing it."
Yeah.
Because I got 2 out of 3, but I don't have the right time because you guys have not said you're on board with it. So I need your permission, or else I'm leaving your daughter for good.
Yeah.
You can take her back.
And I was like, yes, finally some conflict. Like, finally someone's calling it.
Yeah, and I thought for the first time we've heard from him that it's like, okay, this is weird. You guys are being very like cagey and like just say what you mean. So at least I understood where he was coming from, and it made the daughter look even more weird because like she was ready to go through with it, even though it was like he clearly was so uncomfortable.
What are you doing? Like this, we ignore that. That's her trauma. She ignores.
Yeah, we ignore.
She ignores things.
It. Very good.
Sweep it under the rug. So he stops.
Scene, I almost did start to cry.
Shut up. No, you didn't. For real, for real?
When George was starting to talk, I thought it was very sweet.
Oh my God. Julia's like, he's like, really? And she's like, you could do hard things too. Get up there. And she like zings him up, and he's like, he says, you don't need my blessing, but you have it, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Which is cute.
Basically. Yeah. I mean, that was the thesis of his like 3-minute speech, but it was like.
It was another long one for him.
Another long speech to be like, you don't need my blessing, like you said, but you have it.
Yeah.
And
then they do the last step. They plunge like that knife through the, I don't know what it was, papyrus, paper.
Yeah. But before she goes, wait, just kidding.
Just kidding.
I was like, that's the last straw with you.
I was like,
I want to hear from you.
Not this kind of, not now, babe.
Not the. I was
bad
like,
time for a joke.
Wrong time, wrong place, wrong person. Like, enough.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't do it. That was so, I felt so tasteless.
Like, you just got the blessing. Like, don't you dare.
Like, even though we're in Bali, we are on thin ice. Like, let's just keep the train moving. Let's not back it up into the station because like I found it so tasteless when she said stop.
It was so funny. But we still have runtime left. We still have time left in this movie.
We still have time left in the movie, and because we have to basically dispose of the Emily in Paris guy.
So he proposes again.
Okay, I did LOL when he pops out from behind the table and yells surprise. I did laugh.
The physical comedy was on his fragile shoulders this whole movie, and he did it.
Really
he did a great
funny.
job.
That was really funny, and he tries to propose again, and he smacks his head into her nose, and she's like, "It's a no.
It's a no for me, dog.
I hate surprises, and
you're chock full of them."
And I love George Clooney.
And like, there was some endearing moments in this movie where the daughter does say after the first proposal to her mother, she says, loving is different from being loved. Kind of like making her the old wise one in this. Like, she's not only being loved by G'day, she is doing the loving. And Julia Roberts is clearly
is doing the loving.
Yeah. Julia Roberts is only allowing Paul to like smother her with love, but she is not loving back. And I think that's the whole movie. That was the first second she laid eyes on G'day, she falls in love with him. Lily is in love with him. So it makes sense. Yeah. It's a movie about loving, not just being loved. Sweet.
100%
You're like,
agree with
stop
you.
It.
No, I mean, you're right, because they literally say that word for word. So there's I can't disagree.
Good job, Chanel.
I can't disagree with you for reading the script. So you're right. So they break up, and then we have like a goodbye on the beach, and it's kind of strange the way that it's ending, because the daughter, I guess, well, not I guess, I mean, she lives there now, right? She lives in Bali. Yeah. And they're like, I guess we'll see you soon.
Who's gonna clean up that like apartment dorm? Like, I just kept thinking about that. Like, there was a lot left behind.
yeah, who's gonna pay your law school debt, sweetie? So it's like,
True.
so they say goodbye and everyone seems to be okay, but it did feel a little bit strange. Like, we're leaving our daughter here. Like,
Yeah, just like that.
okay. So they get on the boat and they're sitting there. And when I tell you that I honestly think that this is like the perfect movie ending. Like, this is what they should, like, I've never went, I'm not involved in planning curriculum for film school, but like, this is what I think they should teach. They should show this ending because it was so perfect. Julia and George are like about to share a kiss again and they're like holding hands. And then they both realize
What are we doing?
they got it. What are we doing?
What are we doing? We're not. Are we gonna leave our daughter in Bali?
The most beautiful place on the earth?
We couldn't. And I'm like, wait, what? Like,
And then
you guys seem like city folk.
Yeah, without even saying a word, they just
hop off the back of that boat, hop into
freeze
the
frame
air.
with them jumping.
Very Mamma Mia. Very Mamma Mia too. Freeze frame.
Very Mamma Mia too.
I saw the visual influence.
Yeah.
I know. I was saying to you that there is no memorable music in this. Like, not even score.
No score and no like real contemporary songs except for when they were
the beer pong
at the bar. There was nothing that I like think of now when I think of Ticket to Paradise.
Mm-hmm.
So
same.
That's a bummer. But
and then the best part of the whole movie for me.
Oh, the best part was
bloopers. I love a blooper reel.
Yeah, I love the blooper reel during the credits, because unlike some blooper reels, which are just meant to be funny, this one really gave us a taste of what it was like to be there. Like, I felt like we were there.
I felt like I was on set. I loved it. It felt like family-friendly fun.
Oh, so fun.
Did you...
Like, this is...
Go ahead, because I'm going to come up with my favorite blooper after.
Oh, I was going to say, like, this is like... You know how Olivia Wilde is, like, so annoying by being like, oh, I have a no jerks policy on set. No jerks allowed. Yeah. I'm like, this is what no jerk policy is without saying it or being annoying about it. It's just like, just be...
Yeah.
Like, just get professionals.
Yeah, everyone seemed like they were pulling their weight. Even, like, the bit players, even Mary Beth herself. It was so fun.
The way that they were interacting with the people in the graduation scene.
It was so sweet, wasn't it?
So sweet. And I'm like, that's how you drum up good background performances.
Yes.
You get them involved.
It seemed like they were like improvising a little, and Julia was like yelling, "I made you" at the graduation scene.
Oh, for sure.
And then like everyone breaks and she turns to like the crowd and she's like, "Right, moms, right?"
I love the scene where they were like kind of drunk at the table acting, and George was like laughing really hard, and Julia Roberts is like, "We have guests here. Like, you need to get it together." It was
you
really
can tell that
cute.
They're like old friends. I loved my favorite blooper. They're on the plane, and the stewardess or the flight attendant drops all the champagne all over.
It's a flight attendant, Chanel.
The flight attendant. Sorry, guys. Happy Christmas.
Yeah. Okay.
Stewardess.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the flight attendant drops a bunch of champagne and glasses like all over George
Oh,
Clooney.
so funny.
And Julia Roberts goes, it's just George Clooney. We have another one of him.
Yeah.
And then we can get another one of him. Fun. And then Clooney goes 1-800 Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
So funny.
It was so cute.
Oh, that was so cute. I loved it.
Yeah.
And that's that.
I could see myself rewatching this movie on any flight that has it in the in-screen, like in the in-monitor display. Like, I would watch this. Normally, I always like to watch the Da Vinci Code, but I will always watch
You have a plain go-to? I'm dead.
Always, because there's always the Da Vinci Code or Angels and Demons. I watched all three when I was flying to Singapore. I watched Angels and Demons, Da Vinci Code, and Inferno.
Oh my goodness. Everyone at home, take notes.
The whole Dan Brown.
The whole Dan Brown repertoire.
They're the perfect plane movies. Like, I can't help but be engrossed.
I'm obsessed with like the fact that you seem to have this hard and fast rule that I just have never been privy to. So I think my next flight, I'm gonna pop one in. Da Vinci Code first.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, but once you become experienced like me, like when I was flying there, I watched them Star Wars style. So I watched Inferno, then Angels and Demons, then the Da Vinci Code.
I was going to ask you for like chronological. Are they chronological? No, clearly no. Inferno first.
They are. Although I think Angels and Demons is a prequel. I don't know, actually. I have no idea.
You watch some Star Wars?
Dan Brown, if you're a listener of the pod.
What is your...
What is the way... I don't know what the right
George
order
Lucas
is.
cut. Like, give me how I should consume these movies.
But I guess I hadn't seen Inferno in a while, and I really liked it.
I haven't seen any of those three, so that's really shocking.
Really?
I know.
I think they're pretty good.
I thought you watched Little Women the whole time because you talked
about it.
Chanel
was 18 hours. I mean...
Babe, I watched 4 more movies after that.
I watched Little Women 2. Not Little Women 2, imagine.
It also. Little Women also. Not 2.
Also, there were Little Women. So that was a good movie. I love that one.
I loved your very mature take on just like surrendering to the performances that you got. And you're like, I love this movie.
Yeah. I mean, that version of Little Women is so good. I think it's like truly like
I love the way it's woven.
A masterpiece.
It's woven really
so
cool.
So good.
Yeah. This just turned into film school.
Unfortunately, no one had the heart to tell Laura Dern, step it up. But so we got what we got. So it is what it is. But I'm
unwell.
That's the only one that I couldn't get. Like I can't sink my teeth into. But that's a different
podcast, different story.
Put Julia Roberts in that movie.
I feel so psyched.
Yeah,
that we covered this one because
Me too. I've been wanting to do this for a long time
since it was in theaters. So yeah. I'm psyched.
I was like, we're doing it. I was like, this movie went from we're both gonna go see it in theaters and do it to we're gonna rent it, but then we were like, it's too expensive.
Yeah.
And now it's streaming exclusively on Peacock.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's do it.
Because when the last time we were gonna try to touch it when it left theaters, you're like, I'm not spending $20, and I was like, I'm not spending $20 either.
Oh, not spending
because the fund was drained.
The fund was dry for a trip to Bali, we didn't have enough money to watch a movie about Bali.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And I weirdly felt like this was going to be our Eat, Pray, Love redemption because I want to let everyone at home know we recorded a tester episode of us doing Star Vehicle podcast with Eat, Pray, Love, and it didn't go well.
Yeah, we famously recorded an episode.
Famously. It's in the vault under lock and key.
Yeah, it's kind of, that's going to be something that people are going to talk about years from now. They're going to be like, oh my God, has anyone found that unearthed?
No, I know. Like,
Eat, Pray, Love episode? We
begged Taylor Swift for 10-minute All Too Well, and our fans are like, where is the leaked Eat, Pray, Love footage? Come on.
Release the Snyder cut. Give us the Eat, Pray, Love.
It didn't go well, so I was nervous. Like, I think we had this idea. Well, I think the movie's too long.
Well, you know what's funny is I rewatched Eat, Pray, Love while in Bali, and it's just as bloated as I remember it to be. Like it's the movie,
bloated. Yeah,
it's too bloated. And I was like, even thinking about when I was watching it, I was like, I don't even know how to like talk about this movie without talking about it for 3 hours because it's so long.
That was the problem. I think we talked about it for at least 2.
But the problem is there's just so many scenes and it's so long.
Yeah.
I guess we would have to like recut. I mean, you'd have to like really make a choice to not talk about certain topics.
I know. And we ragged on a bunch of people in that movie.
But anyway, like what's so interesting is like that movie is like, I mean, you really think of Julia Roberts as the ambassador to Bali based on that movie.
I do.
Even though she goes to Italy and India in the same film.
I don't even clock the other two. I'm like, this is the ambassador of Bali.
This is the ambassador of Bali.
Yeah.
So to see her again in Bali was a real treat. I never thought we'd get her back.
Never thought we'd get her back either, even if they played with my heart a little and it was Australia. At least I thought it was Bali.
Just forget Men in Black it.
Yep. I'm erasing that from I don't have the information. This is Julia in Bali and it was very nice to see.
Yeah.
Bali missed her and it's a good look for her. The jumpsuits, amazing.
So I think we could do, and that's what I did write down at the end. I thought, okay, let's do kind of like a project where we refilm every movie ever made. We just reshoot it in Bali and we put these two in the roles.
This is a lot of money, Steven.
Yeah, but I think it's something that we should think about.
Why did I think you were going to say cast J-Lo?
Yeah, that's another good option, right? Throw J-Lo in the mix.
Throw J-Lo oh my God. Bali. I want to see J-Lo in Bali. I'm down.
I mean, like that's like something like this. Like just go nuts and have J-Lo be the daughter. And like, let's see if anybody asks a question. And see if anybody asks any questions.
Yeah.
Like it could have been them going to visit their friend who was going to get married in Bali and was like, I really want you guys there. No, probably wouldn't have worked.
Do you know that I'm having this very weird pop-up right now where I'm no psychic, and I don't claim to be, but I have this feeling that this...
No, because they're licensed and real.
What? Oh, yeah, the psychics are licensed and real. Yes, and they're ordained by God. No. I'm no psychic, but, like, I feel like Julia's not done with Bali. Like, I sort of feel like we're gonna get a 3. Like, we need, like a third to round out the trifecta. I don't know why I have that feeling. I just feel like she's gonna go back and do a movie in Bali.
Yeah, I think this was, like, ripping the Band-Aid off, right? It's like, if we go back to Bali with Julia, it's like, how do we bring in all that, you know, Elizabeth Gilbert baggage? But then it's like, okay, we just did it. We're fresh. Like, well, I think we could come up with some different options now.
Yeah.
Like Little Women in Bali.
Okay, I'm in. We recast that one with Julia as Laura Dern role and then put it in Bali.
As the Laura Dern role. Yeah, exactly. So,
poor Laura Dern. Laura Dern.
Laura Dern.
Poor Laura Dern. Guys, try that at home. It's very fun. All right. I mean, anyway, I think we did it. I feel really good. That was... We had more to say than I thought.
Every time we go to, like, record this, you're like, oh, we have nothing to say.
These
and I'm like,
scenes
no, I think...
were so
And I'm
boring.
always like, I have a lot to say. I don't know why.
I think I'm like, it's too vulnerable for me to be like, hey, I don't really think I have anything.
Oh, you're insecure?
I'm insecure, so I'm gauging to see how you feel.
You're insecure.
You gave me a lot of validation. You were like, yeah, wait, like a lot of these scenes, it was like, what just got talked about? And I'm like, same. But luckily for us on Star Vehicle Pod, it's unimportant because we're able to trudge through.
All right. Well, I'm glad that we're much like Julia with Bali, her ripping the Band-Aid off. We ripped the Band-Aid off. And
we got back on that horse. We kind of like
This is our Bali.
We undid the curse
You've
of
never
Eat, Pray,
been.
Love.
You've never been to Bali.
I don't have a husband. I've never been to Bali.
You've never been to Bali.
Chanel has still never been to Bali. I don't know if I have it in me.
Yeah.
I might have one more big...
I don't know if I have that trip.
I might have one more big trip in me. And Bali's not.
Yeah.
Our parents are so guilty of that. It's so funny.
Listeners, let us know if you only had one big trip left in you. Where would you go? Yeah, I'd love to hear your responses. Where would you take your last big trip?
You only have one big trip in you. You might be 25.
Yeah, just imagine.
Where are you going?
Where are you going? Where are you taking yourself?
I don't even have one in me. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, like the thought of like having more jet lag is actually like nauseating right now. So
yeah,
I can't even.
Brutal. Oh my god, my face hurts. I'm laughing so hard. Oh my god. Okay, you guys know where to find us. We're back. We're gonna start releasing episodes again weekly. So be on the lookout for more from us. And that's that on that.
That's that on that.
All right. Bye, Steven.
All right, bye, Chanel.
Bye, bitch.